So that, let that be a lesson. If you aren't branding yourself, if you aren't putting yourself out there, if you aren't crafting it the way you want it to be crafted, somebody else just might do it for you, especially if you're in the management position that you are in, okay? Or striving to be back into. Managing your personal digital presence can be a huge benefit to you, of course. It gives you a chance to have kind of a living document of everything that you've been doing and all the ideas that you have. So if you're on LinkedIn, for instance, you don't want to keep it just something that's static, right? You want to be able to update it quite often, update your status, update your connections, have more connections with people, that type of thing. But if you're employed, you also want to think about the fact that crafting your own personal brand can benefit your company as well, right? Because if you're seen as somebody who has a lot of really good ideas, current ideas, somebody who is a forward-thinking person, that is going to benefit your company as well. Because people are looking to you for leadership. Your employees are looking to you for leadership. So they're going to see that, you're my manager, my executive, my boss is putting things out there on all the different networks, crafting his or her brand. Maybe I should be doing that as well. I need to keep up. I need to make sure that I'm being fresh. Because if my manager or my executive is fresh, if I'm not being fresh, they might, look at me a little bit negatively. So it can bring some of your employees up. On the other way of looking at it is if you're trying to look for new talent, if you aren't present on the different platforms, and I'll talk about those in a minute, if you're not there, it might be harder to attract that new talent. Because what are they doing? They're looking at you, right? They're looking to see where you're at. They're looking to see if the upper management at your company even is out there in the digital world. So it can only benefit yourself and your company. All right, so everybody knows, all right, you got to manage it. You got to manage your personal brand, okay? And everybody talks about the big four. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Now, these aren't, the big four accounting firms, right? Much better. These are the big four, as you're all familiar with, digital platforms. So you've got LinkedIn, of course, Facebook, of course, Twitter, of course, and I'll get the eye rolls there, and YouTube. Now, I want to make a case for being involved, perhaps, in all of the big four as a part of maintaining, monitoring, owning your own digital presence, your own brand. So let's talk about each one of these. This is not a how-to on how to do LinkedIn or a how-to, you all have been to these before. I know that. I've seen some of you at mine. But LinkedIn, first of all, that's the standard go-to for the business professional, right? But what you want to keep in mind with LinkedIn is that there's so much more than just it being a static resume like Gordon was talking about, where it's a resume of things in the past. You can use LinkedIn as something for now and even in the future. Because if you use it correctly, you're crafting your brand and you're crafting your credibility and you're crafting the way that people are looking at you every single day. Okay? So LinkedIn, things that you want to do is make sure that your profile is filled out 100%. You've probably heard that before, but it's so true. If you kind of do it, if you kind of go into it kind of halfway, that could reflect on you, that you're not really putting the time and effort into it that you need to. Why be on it if you're not really going to take it to the executive, the management level? Do it the right way, okay? Another thing that's great about LinkedIn is, especially if you're in the management level, they have those company pages now. They have all that information about all the companies and what they're doing and who's left the company and who's joined the company. And innovations that are going on in the company. There really is a wealth of information about companies on LinkedIn that a lot of people haven't tapped into. So it's a really great way to look at your competition and look at what people in your level of management are doing as well. What kind of things are they doing, implementing, talking about, right? So that's a big deal about LinkedIn. Facebook, and here's where I'll get more eye rolls. Facebook is so much seen, of course, as the personal, way to, hook up with your high school friends and all that. But what people are starting to realize is there are a lot of features in Facebook that allow you to, again, craft your personal digital presence on the business side. It allows people to see a little bit of your humanity, which is good. And of course, there are all those nice security settings that Facebook now has in it that allow you to, control who sees what. But if you take a look a little bit more into into Facebook, you'll see that you can do pretty much your whole resume on there. Your education, your job, your career positions, what you did in those, the years, all of that. So there really is a wealth of information that you could put on your Facebook profile as well. So if you're trying to craft that whole digital presence, and I'm not advocating that you get on there and you say, hey, I went to the grocery store today. No. But it's another place for you to be seen as the professional that you are, as the human that you are, as the fresh thinker that you are, right? And that's a huge deal. All right, Twitter. I get so many people that just can't stand Twitter. They don't get it. They don't understand it. And I understand that. But what people don't realize, yes, of course, the same thing is happening on Twitter where, I went to the grocery store today. Fine. But here's the other thing that happens on Twitter. Hundreds and thousands and millions of comments and conversations about brands, companies, people, events, news, things that are happening all around the world. When the debacle of BP happened, and is still happening, I'm telling you, Twitter exploded with BP comments, BP news, BP everything. Nobody probably even saw that coming, how much conversation was going on in Twitter. So again, if you're trying to craft your whole personal digital presence, being on Twitter, even if it's just getting your profile up there, telling people who you are, and sending out infrequent but quality tweets or messages can be an effective part of your whole presence. Really, really can. Yeah.
That comment about the BP, is
Yeah.
there a way to go on Twitter and find those kind of comments?
Absolutely. Yeah. Within the twitter.com itself, on your profile page, on your home page, there's a little search bar, and you could type in BP, British Petroleum, whatever you want to type in, probably BP for short, right? And you'll see, at least on, that's one way, but you'll see all of the current tweets that are going out just about that subject or any subject that you want to talk about. Another way is to go to search.twitter.com, do the same thing. You can search, key terms. Yeah.
You can also follow on Twitter. You can follow BP and you'll be inundated with all the comments.
Exactly. You can follow BP, or you can follow the account that was created immediately after the explosion happened, and which has more followers, that I understand anyway, than BP does, because it was like the anti-BP Twitter account. So yeah.
There's actually posting for jobs through Twitter as well. There's even an aggregator that basically aggregates jobs by positions or regions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are recruiters on Twitter, job seekers on Twitter. Tweet My Jobs is a great application for people that are looking for work. The trick of Twitter, of course, is you do need to get into the culture of it. You do need to understand how to utilize it. But if you do take some time, if that's what you want to do, it can be a useful resource.